Well, thank you for this opportunity to speak. Let me begin by talking about what's normally called the scandal of the evangelical mind. It was a phrase coined by church historian Mark Noll, who wrote a book 30 years ago in order to describe what he thought was going on with evangelicalism at that time. His main thesis was this: the scandal of the evangelical mind is that the evangelical mind, does not exist. He was of the opinion that evangelicals do not know how to think from a Christian standpoint about politics, economics, culture, and so on. This is one issue that needs to be brought to the table when it comes to discipleship. The other issue is biblical literacy. Biblical literacy in the sense that the Bible's never been more available, but it's also never been less read on a regular basis. So how then do we tackle these two problems? The problem, allegedly, of not being able to think from a Christian standpoint, and the problem of people not being fully committed to their Bibles. I guess what I'll say pertains to the two largest groups of people that I've been working with in my own ministry. Someone mentioned seekers. That is one group. The other one is the so-called unchurched. People who grew up with faith, maybe grew up in Christian homes, and then went their own way. So what can be done for these two groups of people? I suggest we might want to look at the book of Proverbs, and three specific kinds of proverbs when it comes to, first of all, rekindling some kind of a curiosity. The three types of proverbs are as follows. One thing is better than another. One thing is like another. And then finally the so-called numerical proverb, for three things and for four. Allow me to illustrate each one briefly. If you have a Bible handy, either physically or electronically, please turn to Proverbs 15 and verse 17. Proverbs 15, verse 17. In there you read, "Better a meal of vegetables where there is love than a fattened ox with hate." One thing is better than another. The natural question to ask is why? Why is a basic offering of a traveler's meal with love better than the best that any Michelin star restaurant could offer would hate. Of course, this proverb is not about food, and it's not meant to praise vegans and their choice of diet. Veganism, to be sure, is an option, but this proverb is about interhuman relationships. Why is a relationship built with love, regardless of what is being offered, better than a relationship meant to send away, even with the best and the choicest food on offer? The text in Proverbs does not give us an answer, but it is the sort of thing that is meant to be discussed within a small group of those who have committed to Christ and who have committed themselves to regular Bible reading. Second kind of proverb: one thing is like another. Again, you can look at Proverbs 25 and verse 18. False testimony about a neighbor, against a neighbor, is like a hammer, a sword, and a sharp arrow. The natural question to ask: how are these similes functioning? The natural question to ask is, in what way is false testimony akin to a hammer, a sword, an arrow, a sharp arrow? All three are weapons of offensive warfare. All three can do tremendous damage to one's character. And false witness isn't just any accusation. False witness is part of the Ten Commandments. False witness is also illustrated in the story of King Ahab and Naboth the Israelite in 1 Kings 21. So how are these three things similar? How is false witness like a hammer? What sort of blows can it cause somebody else? How is it like a sword? How is it like a sharp arrow? Again, these are comparisons, these are similes. The answer to these questions should be found in the community of disciples. The third and final kind of proverb, the numerical proverb. If you can turn to Proverbs 30, verses 21 to 23. Under three things the earth shakes. Under four it cannot endure. When a slave, under a slave who becomes a king, under a fool who has been satisfied with food, under an unloved woman when she gets married, under a slave girl when she supplants her mistress. This is a riddle, not a proverb. It's meant to be discussed. The answer, again, is not in the text. But there is one thing that should connect all 4 items. Not only that, there are ways in which this numerical proverb looks back at Israel's story. When does a slave become a king? Well, think of Omri in First Kings. And then think of Jehu in 2 Kings. A fool having too much to eat? Well, 1 Samuel 25. Somebody who is called Nabal, fool. An unloved woman when she gets married? Leah in Genesis. Finally, a slave girl who takes over her mistress. This is somebody who steals a husband's affection by bearing a child when the husband's wife is actually barren. Hagar. So, a numerical proverb listing 4 items which are related. A world shattering, a world coming undone. So what then can we say about small group Bible readings for seekers and for the unchurched? Well, perhaps the book of Proverbs can be used in 2 directions. The first has to do with showing people the Bible is actually relevant. The Bible does actually address real life situations. And as for the unchurched, well, it's a reminder that there is a story to which an unchurched person can go back. There is a story which gives identity. There is a story which gives both direction and standards for life. There is canon for life. So, to go back to my original 2 problems, the scandal of the evangelical mind and biblical illiteracy, the book of Proverbs can help with both, if it is used for seekers, if it is used for the unchurched. Thank you.